When someone asks about your 457B, you probably say it's my retirement plan. But your 457B is actually three different things: a deferred compensation agreement, a government talent retention tool, and a separation based access account. Most government employees think they have one thing, but they're actually managing three separate financial mechanisms. Your 457B was designed in 1978 to solve a specific government hiring crisis. And that original design creates both unique advantages and costly gaps that could add unnecessary extra working years to our career. Hi guys, I'm Nok, and I'm passionate about helping people understand how their money actually behave based on where they park it. Why? Well, I didn't grow up understanding finance. My immigrant family strategy was simple: you work hard, you save money, repeat. No investments, no fancy retirement accounts. Just toss our money in a savings account, earning half a percentage a year while inflation ate away our purchasing power. Now, after watching my family's hard earned money lose value year after year, it made me realize something. Money is basically a language of life. It's just as important as learning our ABCs, but it's never taught in schools. Most people spend decades working without understanding how their money actually behaves, and that's not their fault because it simply wasn't a part of their school's curriculum. After many years of studying how money works and talking to government employees across the country, I discovered three critical mistakes that could cost you decades of retirement income. The first mistake: assuming your 457B works just like every other retirement plan. The second: not understanding that working extra years versus retiring comfortably often comes down to decision you make today about fees, taxes, and market timing. Your money behaves completely differently based on where you park it. If you park it in a savings account, it's safe, but you lose to inflation. If you park it in a taxable investment account, there's growth potential, but immediate tax drag. And if you park it in a 457B, comes with unique government benefits with 1978 design limitations that you didn't know exist. Okay, guys, let's dive right in. In the next 15 minutes, I'll walk through exactly how your 457B really works, the origin story, who really benefited from its creation, investments realities, tax implications, fee structures, and why understanding this history could save you a lot of money and time. Let's start with the government crisis that created your plan. Picture this: it's 1978. State and local governments are hemorrhaging talents to private companies. Bright college graduates are choosing corporate jobs over government work, and it's not just about salary. Private companies are offering these new shiny 401k plans with employer matching, while government employees get basic pension plans and lower starting salaries. Now, in Sacramento County, University of California system, they're all losing their best people to tech companies and consulting firms offering total compensation packages government cannot match. Why? Well, because the government has a problem. They can't just raise salary overnight. Budgets require voter approval, pay scales are set by legislations, and taxpayers are watching every single dollar. Now, the brain drain is real. Government agencies are watching the most talented employees walk away for private sector benefits they can't compete with directly. Something had to be done. So they got a little creative. Financial services companies saw this massive market opportunity and pitched a solution. They go, what if your employees could defer more of their current compensation and avoid taxes while staying loyal to the government work? Enter Section 457B of the tax code. Now, Section 457B was designed as a deferred compensation to help government retain talent, not as a traditional retirement plan. The financial companies promised government HR departments a retention tool that would cost taxpayer nothing upfront. Employees could defer up to $7,500 annually, avoiding current taxes, and feel like they were getting a competitive benefit. Here's what happened. Government solved their talent retention crisis. The financial companies, well, they got what they wanted. They gained billions of dollars in assets under management. But the employees, well, they got something different than what they thought. A compensation deferral system with investment options chosen by their employers, fee structures negotiated by their HR department, and access rules designed around government employment, not retirement planning. Your 457B offers traditional pre-tax deferrals or Roth after-tax contribution. This choice alone could impact hundreds of thousands of dollars of your lifetime wealth. Traditional means you avoid taxes now but pay ordinary income taxes on every dollar you withdraw. And Roth means you pay taxes now but you withdraw everything tax-free. At age 73, traditional accounts triggered what's called a required minimum distribution, RMD, whether you need the money or not. I've created a detailed breakdown of exactly how this choice could impact hundreds of thousands of your lifetime wealth in my traditional versus Roth deep dive video. Check the description below for the links. The tax structure analysis alone is worth watching before you make another contribution. I've created a detailed breakdown of exactly how this choice could impact hundreds of thousands of your lifetime wealth in my traditional versus Roth deep dive video. For now, let's focus on where your 457B can cost you the most money, your investment selections. Most 457B plans offer three categories: the target date funds, index funds, and actively managed funds. The fee differences between these options ranges from 0.05% annually for low-cost index funds to 1.8% for actively managed funds. Here's why that matters, and I will be using the following numbers just as an example. Imagine you're contributing $600 monthly over 30 years at a 7% growth. Now, your total invested over 30 years, assuming there is no growth at all, is about $216,000. If you choose the low-cost index option, you end up with $724,000, $800,000, and $2,000. Now, if you choose the high fee actively managed option, you end up with $518,235. Now, the difference between the low cost fund and the high cost fund over 30 years is about $206,567,000 difference based solely on the investment options you selected during your first week of employment. Your employer selected these options through a bidding process focused on plan administration cost, not your investment outcomes. Many government employees discover this fee impact after contributing for 15 to 20 years. When switching to lower cost options means they've already lost tens of thousands to unnecessary fees. Let me show you exactly how we calculated the net annual rate of return. Now, we'll be taking the gross annual return minus the annual fee, which will come out to be the net annual returns. Let's look at the low cost option. You see, we're taking this gross annual return of 7% minus it by the expense ratio, 0.05%, which equals to 6.95% net return. And for the high cost option, we took 7%, we minus it by 1.8%, which equals to 5.2 net return. That seemingly small difference compounds dramatically over 3 decades. This isn't about market performance. Both options invest in the same types of assets. The only difference is what percentage of your growth gets eaten by fees every single year. Let's make that $206,567,000 fee impact real. That's enough for a house down payment on an $800,000 to $1 million home. You can get about 173 puppies with it. That's 25 first-class trips to Europe. And that can pretty much also speed up your retirement by 3 to 4 years. And most government employees never look at their quarterly statements to see the actual expense ratios. That assumption costs real money, money that determines whether you retire at 60 or work until 68. All right, I've got a little side quest you can do after this video. Your mission: find your expense ratio. Log into your 457B account and check those expense ratio for your funds. Look for numbers like 0.05% versus a 1.8%. Remember, those tiny percentage add up to huge dollars over 30 years. This could be the most valuable homework you've ever done because that choice might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Drop a comment below and let me know what you found. Let's keep. All right. So now let's look at how 457B access actually works. Because the government controlled both ends of your money and the rules work very differently depending on your employment status and your age. Now let's look at scenario 1. You're 45 years old and you're still employed. Your business partner calls you up with an incredible opportunity. You can buy out a competitor, but you need about $75,000 in cash within 30 days. You've got $200,000 in your 457B, so you think, perfect, I'll just pull some out. Here's the reality. While you're still employed, your 457B money is essentially locked up. Most 457B plans don't allow loans, and you can only access money for very specific, unforeseeable emergency hardships. And a business opportunity doesn't qualify. Even if you could qualify for a hardship withdrawal, you'd face a tax hit. That $75,000 withdrawal gets added to your regular income. Since you're in a 30% tax bracket, you owe $22,500 in taxes. So to get $75,000 in your hand, you'd need to withdraw about $97,000 from your account. But here's where the 457B plans are very different, and this is a huge advantage. For scenario 2, you separate from service at any age. Now, the moment you retire, quit, or get laid off, everything changes. Unlike a 401k that would hit you with a brutal 10% early withdrawal penalty, if you're under 59 and a half, your 457B has no early withdrawal penalties at any age after separation from service. You want that $75,000 at age 45 after leaving your job? Well, you withdraw exactly $75,000, pay regular income tax at $22,500, and walk away with $52,500 in your pocket, no additional penalties. Compare that to a 401k where you'd lose another $7,500 to penalties. Now, fast forward to scenario 2. You're 73, you've been successful, your 457B has grown to $800,000. You don't need the money, you're comfortable, but in January, you get a letter from your plan administrator about something called a required minimum distribution. Now, the math is simple. They take your $800,000 balance and divide it by 26.5. That's the government's life expectancy factor for your age. Now, the result, you must withdraw $30,000 this year and pay taxes on it. Whether you want to or not, miss this deadline, and there's a 25% penalty on what you should have withdrawn. And that percentage only goes up. By age 90, you're required to withdraw nearly 9% of your balance annually. So the government won't let you touch your money when you might actually need it. Then they force you to take it out and pay taxes when they decide you should. So let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The government controls when you can't access it and when you must access it. Let's talk about the built-in risk. Your 457B gives you pure market returns, all the upside, but also all the downside. There's no built-in protection by design. You're 64, you've got about $1.2 million saved, retirement's looking good. Then the market tanked 25%. Now you're sitting at $900,000. Now what? Wait years for the market to recover or retire with 25% less than you planned. Not exactly the retirement timeline you had in mind, right? But market risk isn't the only constraint built into the system. Remember how I started this presentation? I said your 457B is actually three different things, not one retirement plan. Now you understand what I meant. First is a deferred compensation agreement. That's why your money stays locked up while you're employed. You're not investing in a retirement account, you're deferring compensation that your employer controls until you leave. Second is a government talent retention tool. That's why your investment options are chosen by HR, not by you. That's why the fee structures are negotiated for plan administration costs, not your investment outcomes. The system was designed to keep you working for the government, not to optimize your wealth building. And third, it's a separation based access account. That's why all the best features, no early withdrawal penalties, immediate access to your money, only work after you quit, retire, or get laid off. While you're building your career, this account fights against career flexibility. Understanding these three competing purposes changes everything about how you should approach your 457B strategy. Most government employees spend 20 to 30 years contributing to something they think is designed for their retirement, when it's actually designed for three different purposes that sometimes conflict with each other. Now you know the difference. And before I tell you about the gaps in the 1978 design, let me be clear. Your 457B does provide some genuine advantages that you won't find in other retirement accounts. First, no early withdrawal penalties after separations. This is huge. Once you leave the government service, whether you retire, quit, or get laid off, you can access every dollar in your account immediately at any age without penalties. Try that with a 401k before age 59 and a half, and you get hit with a brutal 10% penalty on top of taxes. Your 457B won't penalize you. Second, special catch-up contribution for employees nearing retirement. Now, if you're within 3 years of your normal retirement age, you can contribute up to double the annual limit. That's potentially $46,000 or more per year in 2024. Plus, unlike any other retirement account, you can contribute to both your 457B and 403B or IRA simultaneously. That's powerful wealth building potential. And third, immediate tax deferrals. Every dollar you contribute reduces your taxable income right now. And government 457B plans typically negotiate better fee structures than what you'd find in a private sector 401k plans. These are real valuable benefits. The problem isn't that your 457B is bad, it's that the 1978 design creates gaps that can undermine everything you're trying to accomplish. Let me show you what I mean. If you're building wealth in 2025 using a 1978 system designed for government talent retention, you're dealing with 5 built-in gaps that could cost you years of retirement freedom. Gap 1, employment lock. Your money stays trapped while you're actively working, even if you want early retirement or career flexibility. You want to start a business at 50, switch career at 45, take a sabbatical, your 457B money can't help you. It's locked until you completely separate from government service. Gap 2 is tax rate gambling. You're pretty much betting that the tax rates in retirement will be lower than your current rates with no way to know future tax policy. What if taxes go up? What if your retirement income pushes you into a higher tax bracket? You're locked into paying tomorrow's tax rates and today's contribution. And the gap 3 is the fee structure limitation. You're stuck with investment options your employer selected, not necessarily the lowest cost or best performing options available in the market. Remember that $206,000 difference we calculated? That's the cost of this limitation. Gap 4 is the market timing exposure. There's no protection against retiring during market downturns that could force you to work years longer than planned. Remember our 64-year-old with a $1.2 million that became $900,000 right before retirement? The system offers no downside protection by design. And gap number 5 would be the distribution control. At age 73, the government controls when and how much you must withdraw, regardless of your actual income needs, market condition, or tax planning strategy. You lose control of your own money when you need flexibility the most. So I want you to think about this question for a moment. Is your 457B your best option, or do you think that it's your only options? Now, most government employees I talk to have never asked themselves this. They assume because their employers offer a 457B and because it has some tax advantages that it must be their best option for building retirement wealth. But after everything we've covered today, I want you to ask yourself, are you contributing to it because it's what was offered to you during employee orientation and you've never really questioned whether there might be better approaches? So I've talked to government employees who discovered these design gaps after contributing for 20 to 25 years, and addressing these limitations at time meant completely restructuring their retirement strategy or working significantly longer than planned. Now, if you took the time to watch this video, you now understand how your money actually works inside your 457B. That puts you ahead of 90% of government employees who never look beyond their quarterly statements. I specialize in helping people eliminate risk, fees, and taxes in a way that they park and save their money. And if you want a strategy that addresses these design gaps while keeping what's already working in your favor, click the link below to fill out a quick questionnaire and schedule a brief 15 minutes conversation with me. I'll ask you about your goals and your current strategy to determine if what I specialize in can even apply to your situation. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.